pleasant and safe evening to all of my kababayans. We are here again, gathered persons who have a crucial role in the problem of the country today, which is really the pandemic. Uh, this is an update again, weekly, of what we are trying to do. We also continue to respond to the rising challenges in our pandemic, recalibrating our strategies if we must based on science and data. Ganito yan mga kababayan ko. There's no magic wand, or if you want a stronger statement, the magic bullet, the silver bullet that will solve our problems. May sinubukan tayo since we are not perfect. So, nandito kami ngayon para mag-usap uli kung ano ang yung hindi maganda. Once that, the ones that we see fit changing, and unahin kung sinong dapat iwan. And gusto kong ipaalam sa lahat that as upon my oath of office, huwag kayong mag-alala. Lahat ng pera dyan na gastos dito sa away ng COVID ay maa-account. I will hold myself responsible for this sole and solemn duty of answering for and in behalf of the executive department of all the funds that were spent in the fight against COVID. Huwag kayong mag-alala kasi yung may kulang o nagkulang, kukunin natin balik sa kanila o hindi. I assure you, I will be the one to endorse the case to the prosecuting office. Ako ang magpirma mismo. If we have through with the investigation, allow the Secretary of Justice to complete his investigation, and his signature on the endorsement will be accompanied by my signature, and that will ensure na ang mga pera makita ninyo paano ginastos. I am asking the National Task Force on COVID-19 to properly report on how all the funds were spent and their intended purpose. Mga kababayan ko, do not mix up everything. Itong iskandalo, lalo na itong pera para sa kabutihan ng katawan ng tao, dalawa ang lumalabas sa limelight ngayon. Yung PhilHealth ang dapat imbestigahan, ang dapat i-prosecute lahat at dapat ikulong. Kung yan na lang ang trabaho ko sa maiwan ko sa 2 taon, yan na rin ang gagawin ko. One of the things that, few things that I can do in the remaining 2 years of my term, ubusin ko ito yung panahon ko to work on the cases for people who are involved in the PhilHealth. Itong pinag-usapan dito hindi ito PhilHealth. Pera ito sa COVID yung binigay At hindi ito pwede masabi na blank check, because that is not allowed. And I'm sure, yung mga tao na iniwanan ko sa pera, lalo na kay Secretary Lorenzana, then si Rowley, and a lot of the guys there, they are military men na nakilala ko noon pa, matagal ng panahon, 10 years ago, o Lorenzana, about 20 years ago. Alam ko, Rowley, they are a bunch of an honest person. Huwag kayong mag-alala. Ikukwenta namin yung pera lahat. Iba yung PhilHealth. Iba yung sinabi, huwag kayong sabihin na napipera na parang cheque. That's a reckless statement. Kasi gumagastos pa tayo, hindi pa tayo tapos. Allow us time to do our thing, spend the money, and there will always be a time for reckoning. And that will be the time when we account for the money that we have used in the fight against COVID. Huwag ho kayong ano dyan sa PhilHealth, pati yung itong sa Bayanihan 1 and 2. And even then, itong sa pera sa Bayanihan, I will still impose stricter measures. I will ask the finance guys nadagdagan. Kasali na dyan sila yung task force mismo. At yung pinag-iniwanan ko ng pera, General Lorenzana, General Garbes, General Bautista, at ang buong IATF. Kasali na ako doon. Kaya nandyan yung garantiya. That is my guarantee to you. And including, I forgot to mention, he's always seldom mentioned, si Bebot Belio ng Labor. Kasi bot yung inabit mo, binabasa ko pa sandali lang. Kasi may nag-object, tapos sabi ko, just give me time to review the objection, and I can simply say that huwag mo na masyadong magmadali. Busy talaga ako. Pero itong bot ito nagnakaw ng pera ng bayan, lalo na yung sa COVID, they will go to prison. I am sure. Pag wala akong nakita na magpakulong, magdampot ako ng 3 sa kanila, kulungin ko. Pilitin kong kulungin para may makulong lang talaga sa putang inang ginawa nila dito sa pera na tao. Sa pagka-ngayon, sa lahat, not only the COVID mechanism, yung PhilHealth, lahat, DPWH, Agriculture, DND, ipapublish yung mga, so they must prepare well in advance, because I would require them to publish in the newspaper, sa 3 newspaper of general circulation. Mamili na kayo kung anong newspaper gusto ninyo. Ipapublish ko ito, ang mga bibilihin. At pagkatapos, ipapublish ko, pagkatapos sa notice, sino yung bidders. Ipangalan nila. I want them na kung saan sila nakatira. In the same manner dyan sa customs ngayon, yung mga consignment na sa mga pangalan lang, hindi na pwede yan ngayon. Somebody must stand for them. Or, if need be, their lawyer. their lawyer together with their clients. Kasi yung lahat ng mga binibigay ninyo na mga address, pagpuntahan ng mga tao ng customs, wala. O alam nila o hindi nila alam. Let us have Jagger. Sabi nila si Jagger daw ay korap. Well, that is just a statement. We will know, I said, when the time of reckoning comes. And that is that we will make everybody account for the money of government. Itong sa cabinet, another publication sa disbursement nila, kung ilan ang ginastos nila ngayong buwan na ito. O gusto mo, every 15 days para mas maganda. Every 15 days, you would know how much a department has disbursed money of the people. I am particularly yung PAPRO, DPWH, DND, sa awa ng Diyos, okay naman. DSWD, under General Bautista, okay rin. DPWH, Dole, medyo may, kaya nga may mga objections I'm reviewing the objections, but I will allow the rule to apply for them, yung mag-report sila ng respective agency disbursement. Ilagay nila magkano ang ginastos and for what. At the end of the month, maybe, or after, hindi, buwanan, mas maganda. Makita na nila kung yung pinuntahan ng pera, pumunta ba talaga at nagastos, at sino. That is in view of yung sama ng loob ng tao itong sa PhilHealth na ito. Lalo na itong PhilHealth, baski paper clip, i-publish ninyo at sino yung bidder na mag-supply ng paper clip, baski isa. Isabi mo dyan sa newspaper para mabasa. So I hope that I have made myself clear on this. More measures will come. Pero, alam mo, marami ngayon, may naglalabas revolutionary government, tapos ako ang sinasabi na wala akong pakialam niyan, wala akong kilala ng mga tao na yan, at hindi ko yan trabaho. At ito naman kay Lenny, that in her ending statement, say that kung hindi ko daw gawin ng gobyerno, gagawin ng tao. Well, sa panahon itong pandemic, medyo desperado ang mga tao. Tapos nagdagan ninyo ng mga ganon, na wala naman kayong base, sana may ipakita kayo. Please do not add fuel to the fire. You will just destroy government. Huwag ninyong sirain ang gobyerno kasi masisira ang tao. Pag nasisira ang gobyerno, lulutang tayo lahat. Baski na sabihin ba ninyo mamatay ako bukas, it cannot solve the problem of the country. May mga siguro, I think that, ano pa ba, nagbiroan kami. I had another meeting somewhere. Kanina sabi ko na ang pinaka may bigat na problema ngayon sa gobyerno, kasi walang pera. Wala lahat. Bangkarota. Walang ekonomiya tumakbo ng ilang buwan. Wala namang mga nagtatrabaho ng babayad ng buhay sa kanya. So, I said that he's in a bind. He has the gravest problem dito sa mesa na ito. Pero he retorted that hindi ikaw ang may problema. Sunod lang ako. Sa totoo talaga yan. Alam mo, we have to, sabi nga we have to spend, salo na sa COVID, we have to spend, but we must have to spend wisely and correctly. Kaya naiwan. Kasi kung wala ng pera talaga, bangkaruta na, wala naman tayong kumita. Kung may magpahiram, kung walang magpahiram, maraming mamamatay, hindi tayo makabili ng medisina. Kaya kung may pera, bayanihan, whether it's already part of one or two, I will make sure, as long as I have these guys here with me in the team, yung task force, yung pera ninyo, I have no doubt that they will not allow corruption. They have matagal na kami sa gobyerno, magpa-retire na lang. Bakit pa namin pagsayangan? Kung konting panahon na lang na iwan, so walang ganang kumain. May pera ka naman, hindi ka na makakain. Kaya sabi ng doktor, huwag kang kumain ng taba kasi mamatay ka. Ikaw, Duterte, huwag ka nang uminom kasi yung barit mo nearing stage 1 ka sa cancer. So, hindi na bebot yung paa. Ayaw ko kung puputulin yan o hindi. Pero puro na may sakit. So, what do we get to be? Ang inang yan. Wala na. Ang amin, ang iwan na lang ang trabaho kasi pag harap namin sa Diyos, ang tanungin ko na, ikaw, Rodrigo, ano ginawa mo? Sabi ko, ginawa ko man lahat. Ito man si Dominguez ang walang pera. Saan niya pera? Naubos na niya, inutang na niya lahat. Wala na magpautang. Si Lorenzana, wala yan. Gumbala, pati armas, may maibigay yan. Pero medisina, kailangan pera, cold cash talaga. No, really, walang biro na to. If there's money, I can assure. Congress is free. Congress is free to participate or create oversight of committees of all sorts. Anong committee maisip ninyo sa COVID-1 or 2? Wala namang pati COVID-2 kung mayroon pa. Ilagay ninyo oversight, undersight, side-sight, igawain ninyo. At kung gusto ninyo to report yung mga tao weekly dyan para may trabaho tayong lahat. They can report to Congress weekly or at your choosing. Walang problema yan. I'm ready to order that. It is not a matter of separation of powers. Ano parang expanded oversight lang. Gusto lang, it is never illegal to know where your money is going. Kaya I urge Congress, ilagay na ninyo ang lahat ng safety measures para walang palpak. Kung gusto ninyo, yun, yung sabi ko, itong sa newspaper, pati yung sa disbursement. Pag hindi pa kayo kontento, tawagin ninyo at ipa-explain ninyo kung ano yung disbursement na yan. Kung saan pupunta at anong benefit na makuha ng tao. I am urging Congress, as a matter of fact, I am demanding Congress to join us in putting up measures to ensure that the money is spent for its purpose. I am willing to give way. At saka, kung gusto niyo ng accounting for every transaction, pwede rin. It might really cost a lot of time for the bureaucracy. But if you want every transaction to be audited right away for you to peruse and understand, we can do that. I repeat, we must participate everything that will prevent corruption. Okay, Sunny, can you make us the report now? I think you have the money now. You seem to be smiling. Or no money still.
Frowning will not do any good. So you might as well smile. Thank you, Mr. President. This is a brief update on the small wage subsidy program under the Bayanihan law that we implemented. So just to give you a quick update on it, it's up there. We wish to inform the President and my colleagues in the Cabinet on the latest update on the Small Business Wage Subsidy Program and the factors that have made this program largely efficient and effective. Based on the factors and the adoption of the following principles for future subsidy programs. Number one, we think all subsidy programs in the future should be digitized. In other words, do through digitalization of all transactions. And number two, the direct distribution of aid should be through banks or e-wallet accounts of the intended beneficiaries. And one of the most important factors that made this a relatively successful program is close administration oversight of the critical steps of the program.
Sir, sorry, but sure. Can you say it in a vernacular again?
Okay. Ito po, mahirap po gumawa ng kalokohan dito kung by computer. Talagang walang cash na hinahandle. Nobody can keep the cash. So the intended beneficiaries, yung mga employees ng small companies ay tumanggap ng subsidy.
Can I be allowed to?
Sure, please.
Ang maganda kasi dito sa yung wala ng transaksyon na may tao-tao, puro makina na lang at diretso na sa, ang pinaka-importante dito is yung paghulog sa bangko ng gobyerno, diretso ito sa empleyado. There is no intermediary and there is no intervention of any kind, lalo na tao, diretso sa inyo. Now, ang sabi ni Sani, kung may pagkakamali man, sa inyo na yan sa data. or data, if you want to pronounce it that way. Na kayo ang nagkamali o baka nga minsan ang, well, of course, ang, ang nagbibigay ng pera, whatever agency that is, but it will lessen corruption. Ang isa pang bago na dinaanan ni Sani na binigay na yung lahat ng departamento ngayon, aside from really yung mga transaction nila is how much yung na-disburse nila. Ilang, what is the amount of how much money has been disbursed so far?
On total ho. On this program ho.
On program, on the program.
This program, 41 billion ho. Was disbursed.
Yung sa, yung sa, kumari sa SSS, gano'n.
Yeah, galing ho sa true. Ang pera galing sa gobyerno pero ginamit namin yung sistema ng SSS.
Okay.
So, SSS
Claro.
itself did not pay. It's the money of the national government.
Okay, that's good.
So, ang 3 lessons so dito, number 1, is management. You set the timeline and you set the milestone. Kung ano ma-achieve at this particular point. Number 2, officials ng SSS, BIR, at saka DBP, at saka DOF, sometimes they met 2 to 3 times a day para lang masigurado na okay yung system, gumagana yung sistema. And finally, kung kailangan, you bring in the experts from the private sector. Hindi natin, government does not know everything. So we brought in people from the private sector here, from Microsoft. Pinulungan din po kami ng Union Bank. By the way, Union Bank, malaking shareholder ho sa Union Bank, ang SSS. So they also helped us. So if you have a problem, bring in the private sector to help you. And you can solve it very quickly. But importante ho yung management na every day you are on top of the situation. Do not let any problem grow big. Okay? Kasi pag malaki na, mahirap na i-correct. So finally, again ho, that's why ho, we took lessons here at pinasok ho namin sa bayanihan tulo na as much as possible, lahat ng tulong sa tao, give it through the banks, through Lulier, so no cash is handled, as little as cash as possible. So walang mangungupit, walang nawawala, So again, we learned a lot of lessons here. But ang pinaka-importante, ang management ng system.
Good evening, Mr. President. Maybe it's a good time to make a short report to you on what the task force PhilHealth has done so far since the day that you directed the Department of Justice to create the task force so that these big problems at PhilHealth may be addressed immediately. So I'd like to report to you, Mr. President, that all the component agencies of the task force, including the independent constitutional bodies, which we invited to help out in the task of the task force, have all been cooperating and supporting the task force in the discharge of its functions. They all understand the magnitude of the problem, Mr. President, and they also understand the need to effect immediate solutions to these problems. So, Mr. President, the strategy of the task force is as follows. Number one, we requested the component agencies of the task force to expedite their ongoing investigations or special audits or resolve cases that are already pending with them involving officials of PhilHealth. As a result of that request, the Office of the Ombudsman has already preventively suspended 13 key officials of PhilHealth for cases that had been filed with the Office of the Ombudsman even before the creation of the task force, Mr. President. In addition, the task force itself has been conducting hearings as a group, and we have invited resource persons and witnesses, but we have zeroed in on certain particular centers of fraud. In the hearings of the Senate and the House of Representatives, and also in other fact-finding or investigating reports. We are focusing, Mr. President, more particularly on these centers of fraud. Number one is the IT system of PhilHealth, as described earlier by Sec. Dominguez.
Sanya said, this is, as you have said, it's the system that's structured.
A good system is good information. If you don't have a good information system, it's not gonna work. Okay.
Right now, Mr. President, the impression is that the information technology system of PhilHealth is fragmented, and it can easily be manipulated because there is no centralized control over the management information system. Number two, Mr. President, in our areas of focus is the legal sector. This seems to be one of the biggest sources of, well, allegedly fraudulent activities. We're still conducting our investigation, Mr. President, but so far in the fact-finding and investigation reports that we have received so far, including those from the Senate and the House of Representatives, it seems that the legal sector is a very ripe source of irregularities. Number three, Mr. President, is what is known as the Interim Reimbursement Mechanism, or IRM. We are focusing on that particular scheme, and this afternoon, the task force held its meeting, which zeroed in on the Interim Reimbursement Mechanism device. And lastly, also, Mr. President, on financial management. This is again one area where we believe that many irregularities in the past have been committed. In addition to the work, Mr. President, of the task force as a collective group, we also created composite teams to follow through the information that we received during the task force hearings or meetings. So these composite teams, Mr. President, are normally composed of the NBI, COA auditors, the AMLC, money laundering, and also the PACC, the Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission. Even as these composite teams are going through the process of investigating more deeply these alleged irregularities, we are also conducting lifestyle checks of certain key officials of PhilHealth so that we can connect the irregularities that we uncover during the investigation with the lifestyle of these people. So there might be a reinforcing effect. If we see that these guys are probably involved in this particular irregularity, they're making money, and it's being shown in their lifestyle. So, Mr. President, our ultimate objective within the time limit that you gave us is to be able to file legal actions with the Office of the Ombudsman. And also, we will try to make use of the reports that we receive from the Senate and the House of Representatives. Because as you probably very well know, the investigations that they conducted were supposed to be in aid of legislation, but the same evidence will be used also for the purpose of filing legal action, and that's a job of the task force. Mr. President, even as we do this, we hope to be able to make recommendations as well for structural reforms at PhilHealth. In the course of our investigation, we'll probably be able to discover what structural reforms need to be done at PhilHealth, and we're hoping that in this regard, Mr. President, the governance commission for government-owned and controlled corporations, which is under the Office of the President, GCG, Mr. President, will be able to make proposals for the reorganization, whether partial or total, of PhilHealth. More specifically, we have broached the idea to the GCG of creating an interim management committee for PhilHealth. And it's something that probably the Office of the President may direct the GCG to do so that they'll do it more immediately. Finally, Mr. President, we hope that the job or the work of the task force may also help in one way or another Congress in crafting new legislation to strengthen PhilHealth and make it more responsive to the needs of the people. That's all, Mr. President.
Okay, let me ask you this. This is a very troublesome office for all of us historically. Can we do it sa customs?
Customs, if you go to the customs office now, si Jagger has a very sophisticated system for monitoring all the shipments in the main ports in the country. Please visit. You didn't see it, eh? You didn't go inside, eh? He has done he's quite advanced sa sa digitalization. Pero again, hindi pa perfect. But he's moving towards that. In other words, alam ni Jagger at any time which shipment is being processed in what port.
Mm-hmm.
So he can, and then they monitor kung magkano ang value ng shipment and how much they collect, the taxes. If you use the information well, you can tell which is out of the ordinary, and you can spot that. Now, it's not perfect again, pero it's good getting there. So I think sa SONA, you mentioned that e-governance is very important, and I think Senator Go filed a bill on e-governance to eliminate red tape. So it makes it easier for the citizen to deal with you. It makes it easier for you to deal with them. So this is quite an important move.
Time to be. We've been training our horses for quite a long time, out of friendship, out of gratitude, helping me. I'm talking about me. Being president, so I had the help of this guy, the support of this guy, the party of what not. Ganito yan kay Jagger. I believe you. Si Jagger naman kasi I told him to fire Humamil. Sabi ko, but it took him quite about a lot of seasons to do it. No, but he was still there. Sabi ko kay Jagger, or through somebody, sisirain kanyan. Kay ito si Humamil, matagal na yan dyan sa airport, napaka-korap yung potang ina na yan. Sabi ko, huwag mo niyo ikat yan. Alam mo, yan lang ang nakita ko na dalawang trabaho, board member ng DBP at nagtatrabaho sa customs. Kaya sabi ko kay Jagger, bitawan mo yan, huwag kang maniwala. Maybe because Jagger was new at that time, and he would need somebody to to guide him to navigate to all of this hula-bulo sa Congress. Pero sabi ko ito si Umamil, tanggalin mo yan kasi yan, naglalaro yan matagal na siya. Butit na lang, I think he was also suspended by the ombudsman. Parang double whammy siya. Pero I have to name him publicly for being, ano ba ang tawag ko sa iyo? Sa Bisaya na lang. Putang ina, balasubas nga eh. Alam mo bakit Bisaya ka? Ang mahirap sa iyo, sa panahon ko, you took advantage maybe because you helped me. And I want you to repay by just closing my eyes. I cannot understand why he was holding DBP director at the same time he was an employee of the customs. Sabi ko kay Drager, bitawan mo yan pag hindi sisirain ka. Ay, malapit talaga siya nasira. O I was considering, Jagger was considering of replacing you. Not because of anything. I can vouch na malinis ka. Problem is do not entertain loyalties, especially in government. If you think that idiot is going to destroy you, you destroy him first. Do you have slides
Yes, Mr.
so that
President.
we can follow you?
Mr. President and fellow members of the Cabinet, good evening. The purpose of this presentation is to discuss the fund utilization for the Social Amelioration Program, or SAP, under the DSWD and provide necessary updates regarding the number of beneficiaries served for the first and second tranche. At this point, allow me to begin by showing the summary of the DSWD's total budget for the Social Amelioration Program. For the whole implementation of the program, the DSWD has a total budget of 207.6 billion pesos. This is broken down into the 197 billion pesos released by the DBM, which was sent in tranches on April 2, April 16, and June 24, and the 10.6 billion pesos, which came from the realigned regular budget of the DSWD in order to support the necessary budgetary requirements of the program. The DSWD, along with our payout partners, both in the direct and digital schemes, have been working hard to ensure that the subsidy be distributed to its intended recipients. We remain committed in this undertaking to secure the 100% accomplishment rate. This concludes my presentation. Daghang salamat at mabuhay po tayong lahat.
Thank you. It's a very good report.
The Department of Labor and Employment implemented three major programs, Mr. President, for workers in the formal and informal sectors, and especially the OFWs who have been badly affected by COVID-19. For these programs, Mr. President, we had a total funding of 12,400,000,000 sourced from the DOLE 2020 regular budget, 4.8 billion, Bayanihan 2.5 billion, and the recently released repatriation funds of 5 billion, Mr. President. Nagpapasalamat po yung mga OFW, Mr. President, because we did not really ask for this fund, but we were all surprised when you gave us 5 billion for repatriation expenses. The first major program of CAMP, Mr. President, of DOLE is called the CAMP or COVID-19 Adjustment Measures Program. It is a safety net that provides one-time financial assistance to the amount of 5,000 pesos to workers in the formal sector where there is an employer-employee relationship, regardless, of course, of the status of employment, whether regular, casual, contractual, or even probationary. CAMP has a total budget of 3,311,000,000 plus, sourced from our regular budget funds. It benefited 662,213 workers in the formal sector. We have fully utilized, Mr. President, our funds for CAMP in June 2020. However, our CAMP applicants reached 1.6 million workers coming from almost 60,000 establishments. Hence, close to 1 million workers have not been served. However, Mr. President, all CAMP applications have been shared with DOF and SSS for their small business wage subsidy program. And for this, about 183,000 CAMP applicants have been benefited by the small business wage subsidy of the Department of Finance and SSS. Thank you to Secretary Dominguez, Mr. President.
Yeah, with your inspiring leadership, Mr. President, gusto kong balita sa inyo at siguro alam na rin ninyo na ang sektor ng agrikultura po ay lumago during the second quarter of the year, 1.6% in spite of the pandemic.
Secretary, pardon me, but I know this is not it's not your main line. But bakit maraming recoveries ang Pilipinas vis-a-vis with other countries?
Sir, marami po sa atin, sir, asymptomatic po, sir, at saka, sir, mild cases. If you will see in the graph, 55,236 cases. Out of that 55,000, 50,000 are only mild or 91.5% po, sir.
Mga kababayan ko, we close this Talk to the People program of the government by allowing me to say this, that government will account for every money. Sabi ko, dalawa ito, baka malito kayo na scandal. You might think of something else na one for the other. Dalawa ito, itong PhilHealth. Ito yung iniimbestiga ngayon ni Secretary Guevara. Yung ibang investigasyon sa Congress, o bahala sila. Basta ito, ang maglaro dito in the end, it will be filed before the Ombudsman. Tapos, yan ang may skandalo, may nakawan ng pera. Itong COVID bayanihan 1 and 2, malinis ito. Ang humahawak sa itaas nito, si isang ahensya, integrated agencies. Pero ang sa pera, how do I say this? The people that I have tasked, yung binigyan ko ng responsibility, pagtingin ito na para mahusay ang takbo at walang nakukurakot na pera. Ang sa taas nito ay si General Lorenzana. Siya yung Pinakamataas dito sa informal ano namin. Then it's Secretary Anyo, General Anyo. Then it's General Galvez, Secretary Galvez. Puro yan sila military. And why? Well, yan ang paniwala ko. People might disagree with me, fine. But I have been with government almost 40 years. I will end, kung buhayin ako ng Panginoon Diyos, 40 years. Bago ako, 40
Ay
years.
ayudak ngay mahal.
Alam ko ang laro ng gobyerno, pati ang
Isos.
buhay.
Tumawat man eh.
So ginagawa namin lahat.
Ituloy ko abasahan.
Hintayin na lang natin yung bakuna.
Uray utang kun
Merong medisina
Tang na lang mahal.
galing Japan.
Asus
pati
kasan
itong
dito eh.
Remdesivir,
Tiks bakak man langay.
pati Avigan,
Tamang ano umawag man ay.
Ito
Mabistulak to lang ito ni
lang,
Sofing.
pang
Ano kastoy lahan.
laban sa kung ano ba, ito yung salagnat.
Ah,
Hindi ito
tiks
yung gamot.
baka. Tapno agsardeng.
Ang gamot yung vaccine.
Wen
Ang
mahal.
vaccine ay gawa sa
Inton agkitatan. Miss
malapit na
kita.
yan.
Ay,
Russia, China,
maya to tiks baka.
I don't know if anybody, alam ko lang yung dalawa, nag-announce na
Nag-tics mo rin.
meron sila and ready.
Yung
and
baglaan
willing to help.
Ta nakasilent.
Both countries have
Ah,
lumabas ng
Hindi
statement.
mo kaya masufing
tulungan
dahil
nila ako. Kung may bayad, o hindi,
Rumarkan
masyado
di
klaro,
ta
no?
kwarto,
Kung may
mahal.
bayad, dahil marami
Mangantan.
masyado, di utangin natin.
Aniyan.
Credit na lang.
Mahal mo ta talagang tiawag ni Sufing kanya.
Hanap tayo ng loan. But if
Ay,
it's
sos!
not, I'm sure
Natalmagak mo
that they are
tendising.
going to
Nalpas!
give us that
Napankin Sufing tay tiks bako, hindi kajajat ko.
privilege of
Ah,
borrowing from them. Ang mauna, malapit na yan, ang China any day would announce it. Ang mauna sa bakuna, ulitin ko, ay yung mga tao na nasa listahan ng gobyerno na tumatanggap ng pantawid. Ito yung mga mahirap. Ang sunod yon, yung mga tao na hindi nakalista.
mahal.
Ay, anyan
At
kita sa
mahirap.
anan na ya. Mahal.
Hindi kayo.
Ay, umay
Kaya
kakit din
nang
tabagantan.
noon, palipat-lipat
Na
kayo ng
imas
lugar.
tilinuto kasi
Wala
data.
kayong
Ang alawin, umaya kun.
address.
Mabisina kun.
Kaya hindi
Apag
ka
iso.
nakalista sa
Imbag man, dapat lagay mistak mo a karni di taref.
When takanayon mo't nga ron na agiyag ni Rosa.
Gusto ninyo ang mauna
Ah,
para
Nay.
magkaroon kayo
Ni mo't
ng
duming dayta.
Nanang! Tatang! Umay kami man!
Ay,
umay dan samat magkipangal daw. Ay, sumrek kayo latan!
Wan, sobrang kailatan. Nagtaros kayo dito yung kusina, tabangan tayaw.
na hindi mahuli ang mga mahirap ngayon dito sa gobyerno na to.
Te,
Maraming salamat.
nanyati ko na mapod no.
Duming.
Ay kwa, dito social distancing yaw. Mayat man.
Wan, ay sus, aging at malpas ti quarantine may akas daw. Ag sinumbangir kami ti pagtugawan, ungtukan ungtaw, ay narigatan.
Ngam sobra, mataka adayaw. Ag sinumbangir nga to tilamisaan yaw, dayan yaw. Sagay sa kayo ti pagalaan iti napoy kan si daag.
Ay, wala, tapno sigurado. No, asino man kada kami bilang, dadda COVID na. Ay, sigurado, ngawan maalisan.
Wan mo,
Uwan mat ah. Ay, ni, jak ba't lakat idisutoy bit-bit ko na pagbalunan. Ay, aday padudumi, apangaldawan niyo.
Ha? Aya, alakit, agtugaw kayo mat nga rudin ah. Mangan kayo dito yun.
Wan Rosa, ay Rosa, bumangir ka. At social distancing kayo matkandumay. Di ka agdagdagkat akas na.
Ay, wey, napagiso, upat tayo. Makapagsasango tayo amangan, nga oray no, ag social distancing tayo.
Ay, uwan. Dito yak bangir dom. Ag social distancing tamad.
Kumusta ti barangay tayon, Dumeng?
Awanan ti problema iti relief.
Una, tawan mo ti maiwaras. Siyempre, awanan ti reklamo dagiti reklamador.
Ngam adala ta problema kadagiti oposisyon.
Sana may kat dayta, kagawad.
Ay, kaya. Aday maya teenager di na minsan. Adda kanu inkariyo nga itidyo nga ayuda.
Ayuda nga.
Basta ayuda, huna naman. Kaya't nati umay di ti balayaw. Ngam di mi pinalubusan na. Ta nakakwarantin kayo umay.
Una nga. Anya ti magana.
Wala. Saan ang nakapalag? Pinagawid may. Imbaga may, ano malpas ti COVID, santo umay.
Ay, imbag na pimanaw.
Uy. Asino ka din na dyan?
Ay, awan. Diyak ama mo na dyan.
Ay, nanang.
Nay.
Imbag nga, tadakil tinay tulong ti panag-quarantine niyo.
Wang.
Ay, di mo sasawan ti maipapanit ibagbagayo atin iyer ng imay
Ala, umay karusa. Ay na, talaga, adakkel, tinaaramidan ti panag-quarantine mi kung tatangyaw. Saan kit din, mahal?
One month. Mahal.
Anyan? Nag-sweet dan.
Wan nga rodom. Takasano, gapo iti COVID, adda quarantine. Kat gapo ta adda quarantine, adda mat social distancing.
Wala niya.
Kat gapo iti social distancing, mat atalagan. Ultimo pagidaan no pagturugan kat nagin nadayuda pa yan.
Gapo na ito iti social distancing.
Wan, gapo iti social distancing. Agtong-tungtung kami lang kung tatangyo iti cellphone.
Kat gapo tadi kay una yan agkit-kita. Apan nangan la siguro ti panagkita yo. Mailiw kayo, iti tunggal maysa.
Kasta talaga. Tanay, awagan nakmutin iti mahal ni tatangyaw.
Ay, mayat
Mayat talaga, Dom.
Ay, timbaglakit din, taada COVID.
Na. Apay bakit?
Ha?
Apay, kaslakay kayat mo batin ti kadat COVID.
Katuwan taga po iti COVID, nag-quarantine ta. Nagtintinik sa latan kat dita, inawagan nakmutin iti mahal. Ang maguray ka. Apay ngay, bakit ko namut itayang?
Gapo iti COVID. Gapo iti COVID. Ay. Anyaman tayo. Tilamay. Ditan gagayem tinaggibusan ti sabali manan na parang iti pannakigasang gasat ni Doming iti yuyeng ni tagtagayna. Dito'y drama tayo, Domi, mabali namin. Insurat ni Luvimin Aquino Sr. Iti direksyon, Roger Refuerzo Ramirez. Production Supervision, Leti Astudillo Aquino. Manipod, iti Lovelet Artist and Talent Center, isagsagot kada kayo, ti Pambansang Radio ng Pilipinas, Bombo Radio Philippines.
There's a space above us where free birds fly. Radio soars like a free bird in the sky. How sweet indeed the feeling of being free. There's a space out there for you and me.
This is the voice of Region 2. Free and independent. Bombo Radio DZNC. 801 kHz, Kawayan.
DZNC, DZNC.
Oras sa Pambansang Radyo ng Pilipinas, alas 2:39 ng hapon.
Ang oras na ito ay inathid sa inyo ng Silver Swan. Walang labis, walang kulang, Silver Swan.
Joy Dishwashing Liquid. Purong patak, bisang katutak.
Previcon, lakas katawan sa bagong labanan. ACS Manufacturing Corporation, ISO certified world-class quality.
ACS. Safeguard. Wash hands. Stay safe. Safeguard.
Cobra Energy Drinks. Angat ang lakas mo.
Cherifer, grow up with Cherifer. Tangkad sagad.
Philippine Statistics Authority.
Mula sa www.bomboradio.com, narito ang pinakasariwang balita sa oras na ito sa Bombo News Break.
Ngayong abala sa online schooling ang mga kabataan at lahat ay nakatutok sa computer, laptop at cellphones habang nag-aaral, nagpaalaala sa mga magulang ang isang national security expert. Sinabi ni National Studies Expert Professor Romel Banlaoy na posibleng online o modular na din ang pagsasanay ng mga terorista sa kanilang bombers. Ayon kay Banlaoy, noon pa ay gumagamit na ng social media ang mga terorista sa pagre-recruit ng mga bagong miyembro. Dahil dito kailangan anyang lubusang maging maingat ang mga magulang at maging mapagbantay sa kanilang mga anak na gumagamit ng social media.
Balitang ito ay natid sa inyo ng Maggi Magic Sinigang. Bili na ng Maggi Magic Sinigang na may gabi, Milkita Candies and Lollipops.
Mula sa DZNC News Department, ako si Bombo Lani Velasco. Basta Radyo, Bombo!
Antabayanan oras-oras ang aming pagbabalita mula sa www.bomboradio.com. Bombo News Break.
Basta Radio Bombo!
Oras alas 2:41 iti malem, sumarunon iti drama Recuerdos de la Vida.
Naimbag nga orasyo amin, papagayam. Iti dayto agundaway, padayawan tayo ama, ti may sa surat. Ngayon patulod ti pagayam, akayat na ti aglingad, itinagan Aloisa, Manipod, probinsya ti La Union. Kastoy man ti surat ni Luisa. Dear Tia Sofia, umuna iti amin kablaawan kayo man iti nainggasatan ngal dawyo dita Bombo Radio. Kastamatan kadag iti amin na dramatista amang bukbukal iti Lovelet Artist and Talent Center. Kablaawak matan dagiti padak ngagdengdengag. Jakto maliwayan tegdengag kadag iti amin na dramayo. Ngam ad-adda ada ito ad-drama Recuerdos de la Vida ti ad-adda adengdenggak. Agingga anapanunot kumat ngel surat ti pakasaritaan ti biag ko. Gapo ta ad-damat imbati daytoy a recuerdo. Ilingadakla kuman itinagan a Luisa. Noan niya dagiti paspasama kiti biag ko ana ibinggas iti daytoy at tuy man ni nakrukyan ti aksalaysay.